I really am so determined to change the conversation of cancer from being given a death sentence to, I think it's so unfair that when you go to a doctor's office and you're given a prognosis and a diagnosis, that I think if you're going to give a prognosis, you should also give the stats of people surviving. So give me the stat of people passing away, but also give me the stat of people being alive still. We don't hear enough about me. We don't hear enough about Jackie, other people. And trust me, cancer is an everyday disease. It's a modern disease that is now so prevalent due to our lifestyle.
Hello, everyone. I'm so honored to interview my friend, Veronica Villanueva, who is also known as Vivi, the only one and only. She's an author. I mean, I'll use the term, she's a badass, and her book, The Grace of Cancer, is such an inspiration. So I want to go through today a little bit more about my friend Veronica and her message to the world, which is so poignant, so powerful. Welcome, Veronica, my dear friend.
Thanks, Francis. Great being here, and thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Fun interview.
I think so. I think I can expect some laughs throughout. You know, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna hang up if we don't laugh in the next 5 minutes.
There you go. Okay.
There we go.
There you go. Well, you know, Vivi, the only one and only. Let's start with that. Like, where's that coming from? And maybe that can explain a little bit about your path. You know, it's such an interesting path.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm so privileged. I've lived like 2 lives already. I'm on my second. I'm one of these cats that have 9, 10 lives. That was pre-C, meaning pre-cancer. I used to coach high school junior varsity tennis in the East Bay in Northern California. And these girls gave me that name. They were like, Coach V, you are too cool to not have an Instagram account. So they're like, I'm like, what's that? And mind you, I have 2 daughters and 1 son. So they should have been telling me this. They just didn't want me to be cooler. So my girls actually set up my Instagram account and called me Vivi, the one and only. And so before I became Badass Believe Coach and now the Veronica Villanueva, 3 names after, I am full on Instagram. So I have my high school tennis girls to thank about, you know, making me a cool coach by having an Instagram account. So from that point on, I mean, I would occasionally post, but now obviously it's turned into a business account.
Yeah. And, you know, I can understand that there's only one of you because I still remember when we first met. I mean, your energy level was so high. We met in Newport.
Yes.
And I think we had a hard time to leave the lunch. Everyone was inside this conference and we started to talk and it was an instant connection. And I think that's to me is really a differentiator from you and a lot of people. It's, you know, I can understand how with your energy you were able to thrive in the face of cancer. And maybe you can explain a little bit about, because I know we have different views, right? Like what's very interesting about your title is you say the grace of cancer. I mean, a lot of people would say that, call bad names and say, you know, fight this. And so can you explain a little bit why you chose grace of cancer?
I guess I can draw up, you know, something similar, which is I approach the book title the same way I approach my, you know, my attitude towards not even fighting, because to me, fighting is negative, but overcoming this disease, and which is, it has to be a gift, you know, because if it's not the grace of cancer, it's the punishment of cancer, right? And I am not going to be punished because I refuse to believe I've done anything ever wrong to warrant such, you know, a punishment or even a gift. So by definition, grace, when you think of grace, grace is something you have no say about. It's given to you. It's unsolicited. You don't have a choice. And it's not whether you've done something good or bad, it's just is. It's given to you. So to me, and that's what cancer is. You know, if I want to dig deep and figure out why, did I ever do anything wrong? Because a lot of people actually think of that as like karma, right? So they did something wrong, so therefore now they have the disease. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe in that way of thinking, because I think that's, for one thing, you're disempowering yourself. I'm not one to empower myself ever. So why would I do that? So to me, I had to see this disease as, a way for me to bring out my best version. It has to take having cancer in my body to be who I am today. Mm-hmm. Not that I wasn't a good person back then, because I was, but I think I love myself. I believe that I really love myself, and I am who I'm supposed to be today. The way
yeah, and to put things in perspective, I mean, I even said that your cancer was stage 4 and
yes,
6 months to live.
Stage 4, so, incurable, metastatic lung cancer. I didn't smoke. So it was a double whammy, so it was stage 4. It had metastasized all over my upper body. And then I had lymph nodes in my lymph nodes. So, yeah, and it was incurable because they didn't really understand the type of cancer I had. So there was nothing to do. So when doctors tell you there's nothing to do, it's because it doesn't mean there's nothing to do. It just means they can't do something for you. So that's them. That's not me. Mm-hmm. I made sure I did something about it, and I looked for other people who won't say they can't do anything for me. And that's right. Integrative medicine, and that's me. That's me saying yes to everything and anything that could potentially help me stay alive and one day feel well again, and where I am today, thriving, which is pretty amazing.
And and now we see, like, I mean, how many years has it been now that
I'm celebrating my 4th year on September 23rd, 2000 was when I was diagnosed. So it's 4 years this year and 2 months. So if we weren't having COVID, I'd throw another party. I do it every odd year.
Yeah.
So I celebrate I consider that as my birthday too. Every other year I celebrate that, because 1 year on my own and 1 year with the rest of the people, in my life. So unfortunately this year we're not going to be able to do that because of COVID, but nonetheless, I'm alive and I celebrate on a daily basis anyway.
Yeah. And, it's a journey, right? Like now we're 4 years after. Can you kind of transport you back into, so that the people can understand? I'm sure there's other people that are receiving bad news, whether it is for cancer, for a job or something. What was your mental process? Because it is a process, right? Like, I mean, it's not something that was, I'm healed from cancer. I was about to say cured, but I know that it's a word we can't use.
I mean, even that alone, Francis, the fact that we can't use the word cure, understanding and knowing what I've done to be where I am today. And very few people know that intimate part of my journey. It wasn't always easy. It was almost never easy. Even today, it's not easy to be consistent, to be disciplined, to be committed to everything that I do, from the time that I wake up to when I go to bed to when, again, I wake up. It's, to be disciplined and to be consistent about it and to be committed to it. You can become very unpopular. You can be labeled as being strange, excessive. But again, unless you've walked my path, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I do it because I know it works. Mm-hmm. I do it because I know that if I don't, there will be other things in my life that's going to not be balanced. And I know how that feels because that was me before cancer. Now, post-cancer, it feels too good to stop doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you an example. Just the other day, one of my clients texted me and said, and he's 77 years old. I've helped him so much. And he said to me, I ran out of my supplements and I didn't do three of the things that you told me every day that I've been doing for 2.5 years now. I can feel the difference. I am your client forever. I thought, oh my God, I don't like that word forever, but okay. Because he says, whatever it is that I've been doing, I can feel the difference when I don't do it.
Right.
And so I said, your level of consciousness and awareness has just been elevated. So you've graduated to the next level. And I said, and that now I know you're totally committed to your lifestyle, because that is part of your lifestyle. And when you really do start with a lifestyle that, first of all, that's hard to start, right? Because it's always hard to I don't know about you, but it's always hard to start a ritual, a practice, because you need to get into it, and sometimes you feel like this is not working. But once you really commit to it and you're consistent and you're disciplined, I mean, for 2.5 years, this man has been doing what I've been telling him to do. And he's now experienced a few days of not doing it and sees the difference. So imagine me, and he's not even doing half of the stuff that I'm doing. So I feel very much out of line. I'm not aligned at all. When it's like being in a train track, and here I am as a train, and when I don't do some of the stuff that I do normally, the train, I feel like I'm off the path, I'm off the track, and my body doesn't feel as good. So the addiction that I have, the only addiction I have, is all these things that I do to empower not only my mind, but my body. It's addicting. It's addicting to feel good. It's addicting to feel happy. When you're happy is not attached to anyone but yourself or anything. We're quarantined. We've been quarantined, I feel like, since the beginning of the year. I'm thriving. I'm happy. Do I miss my friends? Do I miss going out? Do I miss going on vacation? Of course I do. But again, I just that's where memory, that's where you kind of retrieve that. And there's still gifts. Just because you've experienced it, it doesn't mean that you can't replay that. To make you feel and actually activate some of your senses that probably weren't present during your vacation.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, because I'm thinking, part of the healing process, if you had to, what I'm curious about is, how did you start to have that commitment and the new rituals that were successful in your healing process? And is there part of it that was the acceptance and also maybe a visualization? Like, what to explain to people what you had to go through? First of all, you receive the news. What do you do with that news? Like, there's two different ways of doing it. You can go, oh, I believe in this and I'm doomed to die, or there's another path, and you took another path. So what was going through your mind? And then to explain the process of building those rituals and commitment that made you who you are now.
Well, first of all, you need to accept the diagnosis. Because they're not lying to you. The doctors are not lying to you. You need to really, with full attention, listen to what you're being diagnosed for, because you need to learn what that disease is, right? So I encourage anyone who is being diagnosed to listen to the doctor, obviously to get several opinions, which I did. I got 7 to be exact. And, but don't listen to the prognosis. Big difference. Stop right there. Plug your ears. You do not need to hear someone telling you that you're not going to exist anymore after a certain amount of days and times and whatever. So yes, listen to the diagnosis. Do not listen to the prognosis. You have to accept it. You can't fight it.
And that's pretty much what you just said with COVID, right? You accept it, but that doesn't mean that you have to see, oh, this is where it's going. The prognosis is usually this. I guess you decided to be the creator of whatever the diagnosis was, right? You say, okay, so I know this, I can't change, but now what? Like, now I create and I decide what's going to be the prognosis.
Yeah, because I think that 2 things that happen when you accept something, you give yourself peace. There is peace in acceptance. So does it mean that I was at peace with having the disease in my body? No. It doesn't mean that I had to like accept that it's going to stay there forever, that it's going to, you know, I don't want to use the word KILL, that I'm going to pass away due to it. No, it's not that. It's just knowing that in this moment in time, I have that disease in my body. So then you accept it, then you take response. Then the second thing that happens is you not only give yourself peace because you're not angry anymore. When you accept things, you're not angry. And I think most people stay angry. And that to me is very self-sabotaging. You really go nowhere with anger. And then the second thing is when you have that peace, you realize that you take responsibility. By taking responsibility, now you've empowered yourself, because now you feel like, okay, this was me doing all these things that created this disease in my body. That's good news, because now I know that it was within my power, it was within my control, not somebody else. Now, if I gave this problem to someone else to fix, then I'm not taking that responsibility, and I probably would not be here. So the best thing there's so many, but one of the best things that's happened is for these 5 doctors to tell me 6 months. Because when you tell a Leo like myself,
fire,
something she's not ready to hear, which is, wait, what do you mean 6 months? I have so many things I want to do yet, I just went into this mode of acceptance, taking responsibility, and educating myself. I mean, I practically have a PhD on the disease because I had to figure out on my own until I found a doctor that helped me understand that we can actually dig deeper and figure out, how we can really heal my entire body and mind. And that's when I thought, this is gorgeous. This is beautiful. This is something I wish I had known, many, many years ago. And again, I'm one of these people, I get very obsessive. When I want to study something and something really interests me, I'm so passionate about it. I mean, it's like tennis. I started when I was 40. And nobody starts at 40 not having picked up a racket and end up being a coach and competing and being sought after by all these teams, because I was one of the fittest. So to me, I just transferred that passion and that relentlessness into healing myself. And I apply that in everything I do today, and I think that with having gone through cancer, it really brought out even more, or sharpened the existing tools I had already, but now they're even sharper. I've always known I was a tough cookie because of my teachers have always said that about me. So resilience was always there, because I think I had shared that with you, that I've lost my father when I was very young.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, I think the very first time I've ever, was tested or had to learn to be resilient is when my father passed away when I was like not even 6 years old. And then my mother left us we were living in the Philippines. She left us for about a year with another family, after my father passed away, so that, she can create a life for us here in the US. Because they were always an American citizen, my family but they chose to live in the Philippines. But they all moved, her entire family, except my mom's children, my 2 brothers and myself. So we were left with a family for a year. I took care of my brothers, even my older brother. Yeah, I mean, I think that was the resilience, working for me. And so from that point on, it was one after I have to say, and that's one of the things that I really believe life is so beautiful, because I really believe that when you live a life where you say yes to everything, meaning say yes to experiences that are happy, experiences that are probably challenging. All those experiences are there for you. And as you graduate and push through all those experiences and challenges in your life, you're gifted with harder ones. And I think to me, that's how I,
Gifted with harder ones. This
yeah,
is, yeah.
it's a compliment to give you. I mean, when you were in school, when the professor gives you the hardest problems, I always felt special. I always felt like, well, he knows I can handle this, you know?
I love that reframe because it's great because I would believe that if you have any breakdown right now or any challenges, you not only accept it, you're like, oh, it's such an honor.
Yeah, it is to be given this opportunity to shine. That's the thing, is that people don't understand that all these challenges are a way for you to be your best self. It's not, it's not given to you because you're being punished. It's being given to you because someone up there really believes that you can do this. It's pushing you to be at your best. And so whenever we have these challenges and they keep coming, you know, and again, it's how fast you learn these lessons that you're given more. I always say, and we hear this a lot, mistakes. People are so afraid to make mistakes. And I say this with my team. I want you guys to make mistakes because mistakes become your success. It's through our mistakes that we succeed in life. Now, if you make a mistake once, it's a lesson. If you make a mistake another time, now you're stupid.
Yeah, I was thinking that's the word she's gonna use, and then you did.
Then you need a little slap here and there.
Vivi, the only one and only with the girls. Right? What another mistake? What are you?
The whip.
I like that perspective. I really like that perspective of saying it's an honor because it made me remember when I went to Vipassana for 10 days, silent meditation, you go through pain. And one of the concepts was really to observe things objectively and look at a sensation and go through it. And one of the concepts was impermanence and equanimity. So, it's either rising or fading away. And I remember on day maybe 4 or 5, I had such a big pain and I transcended it. Like I was able to finally kind of breathe through it and I transcended it. And I felt, oh, I'm good. No more pain. It's awesome. And then on day 9, poof, it showed up again, and, you're thinking I've got that issue. It's never going to happen again. And then you realize that, what they said is that the sensations of all our emotions are stored in our body, of course. And you can probably talk about that. And it just went deeper. Went deeper. I kind of cleaned the surface. Right. And then on day 9, almost towards the end, I'm thinking, why am I having that pain? And then it was just something that was deeper that I had to go and just release. And I did. So in a way, it helped me to really transcend something even bigger, instead of and you feel it. But so I like the fact that you're just like, well, you get the challenge, you're going to get another one. Yeah. It's an honor because now you're just going to transcend something even bigger.
Exactly. And I remember that's exactly what the Buddha said, right? Life is full of pain. You go from one pain to another. But think of it that way. It's pain. And who said pain has to be negative, right? It doesn't have to be negative. And, and when you see pain or challenges in a way where it becomes your friend, you say, bring it on, because you've done it before. The quicker you push through that pain is the more then you start to really enjoy yourself until the next one comes along. And what we are not understanding is cumulatively over time, when you continue to push through and those challenges and learn from it, you are now so equipped to be given on Judgment Day. Should you ever be gifted with something as major as cancer, in our case, coronavirus globally, it's not going to destabilize you.
There's a lot of pain right now for parenting, for jobs, for everything. Finance, and it could be seen now as an opportunity to shine, right? Like people are starting to be creative. They're not complacent anymore.
Yeah,
about, you know, the whatever the business was running smooth, and then all of a sudden you're gonna make a change, you know.
right. Because once again, I think that when you allow these things to happen to you and you work through it, you are now equipped to handle even more. So, it's all relative, our pain. And for me, it's cancer. You know, People look at me sometimes with these like pity eyes, and I'm thinking, actually, I got it because I graduated all these times from like little pain. And then here's the big one. I don't know if you know much about Stoic. To be happy in life, I think sometimes we need to be reminded of the sadness that exists in life. And for me, seeing and just having these clients as these people as my clients, I can't tell you how, I have to be strong in front of them, but I get off my Zoom meeting and I'm in tears. And there are times I can't hold back my tears because I'm thinking, first of all, it moves me because I was there. It's because I always tell my clients, I understand because I was you. It's not theoretical. When someone tells me I have lung cancer, my back hurts, I said, I know, doesn't it hurt like this, like this, like this? Because I was them. And I think people forget when they look at me, oh yeah, V, somewhat glamorous or whatever. But deep down, I'm just like everybody else. I feel pain. I felt all of that. And so when I hear other people feeling that, and then I look at myself and I'm thinking, wow, I'm still amazed that I'm alive and doing so well and thriving, and something I can never take for granted. So, two things. When I went to a conference, Dave Asprey's conference, Bulletproof, remember him? I was at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. And one of the things that if we wanted to, was jump off the roof of the building. Oh, yeah. Yes. And one of the speakers that was encouraging that was, I even forgot his name. But anyway, I thought I was going to do it. So I went up there thinking, yeah, I have no problem. I mean, really from the rooftop. Okay. But there's like a mattress. There's like, floating.
Right. Hopefully. Yeah. Thank
And
God.
everyone, of course, you can tell the line was long. Everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. This community. Right. And then I'm thinking, yeah. And then I started talking to everyone that's in the line. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? They all want to prove something. Then I said to myself, why are you doing this? You have a hip issue from tennis and a knee issue from tennis. You spent so much of your energy and time saving your life. Now you are going to just jump off this building. To me, that is kind of a disrespect to what you've just done over the years, and to someone up there who wants you alive, obviously, because otherwise you wouldn't be here, to do something incredible for other people, because he's done some incredible thing for you. So then I'm like, oh gosh, that's right. Nonetheless, I was up there and I was still toying with the idea. I was going back. I have the video, and one of these days I'll probably post it. And then one time, then I thought, okay, I'm done. I walked down and everyone saw me walk down. Like, anyone who walks down means they were too afraid to jump down. And it's very visual. Everyone saw me walk down the stairs. And the same way you went in, the same way you came out, if you did not jump. So you see all these people like, oh my God, she didn't jump. She didn't jump. I forgot his name. The author of this book comes up to me and says, hey, I know why you didn't jump. I said, really? I said, tell me. He says, because you're probably one of the few people in this line that does not have to prove anything to anyone.
There you go. I was waiting for it. I'm so happy you said that, Veronica, because I knew it's not about jumping.
No.
You found your own expression. And to me, when I hear this story, because, I've done plant medicine and I'm saying it out loud now, but I remember I was just on that diving board, and, it's an image I had in my mind, like, take it as a dream. Some people are like, well, what are you talking about? But it's something that really happened to me. And I was 5 years old. I was on the swimming lesson and they asked me to jump. And at that time, I look at it and I said, no, I'm not jumping. I'm not going to jump. And the instructor at the time said, Francis, if you're not jumping, you're going to fail the course. And I guess that's a Leo thing, but I'm like, I'm not jumping. And so I failed the course, and I was a really good swimmer. The point is that in that ceremony, my intention was about transcending fear. You know, after receiving some messages, one of them was, you know, you have your breath, don't waste it. And that's another story. But then I came back to that diving board, and the first message was, that's good. Sometimes, you know, you have people that are asking you to do something and you don't do it. And that's okay, because you're following what's you, right? Like you decided to take ownership of you had a prognostic, and then you said, no, I'm not owning this. I own my own thing. And then you decided to do it, which is what I did when I was 5 years old. And the addition of lesson was, accept that when you and I know, though, that the reason why you're not jumping is because of fear, jump. And what I'm hearing about your story is you didn't need to prove anything, because you've already jumped in life. You've already transcended that. So, and you just followed your heart. You didn't need to have the pressure from anyone. And I'm sure also, if you would have felt the calling in you that this was fear, you would have probably done it, but you didn't have to prove anything. So it's a choice you made, and you owned it. And I think that, to me, that's a very important message, because, you know, a lot of the times we don't do things because of being fear of being embarrassed, or fear of thinking what the people are going to do, and we don't do it. And I think that's where we should transcend and just like, no, listen to your heart, listen to your own calling.
Yeah, I mean, and I listen to that little voice that most people don't listen to. And then the second thing is, there's the fear of the actual jump. And then there's also the fear of humiliation in front of everyone. And neither one I cared about.
Exactly.
You know, and I think to live like that is very liberating. You know,
I'm actually impressed that he knew that you didn't have anything to jump. So you had that vibe in you. You just had that, you're decisive, you knew, resolute, I'm not doing it.
He told me, he was watching me from down there, looking, examining. And then as I walked down, he said, you were walking in such a peaceful way. And he said, very few people can actually be at peace after they feel like they did something or they didn't do something that everyone else is doing. I said, I've always been an anomaly. You know, I've always been an anomaly, and I don't have a problem with that. And I'm like, because at the end of the day, I have to face myself. At the end of the day, it's not the crowd that's going to be there for me. So these people, in a way, should never be factored in my decision making.
Chills. That's good.
No, only you get to elect your VIPs. I always say you get to select which VIPs, very important people that get to have a say in your life. You know, because first of all, if you don't know who you are and what you're made of, everyone's going to tell you who you are and what you're made of. So you better learn who you are, because there are many people out there ready to just tell you who you are and what, you know, and control you, right? And they just know to stay away from me. I have my own repellent, right? So I'm just not one of those people that you can, you know, manipulate. But I have certain numbers of people in my life that I call my VIPs, that get to impact my life, that get to, like, I know that I can go to because I trust them, and I know that they love me, that they're unselfish about the way they love me. So, and that whatever, when they say something, that I will actually think about it and listen. So it's not that I'm closed. I am very selective about, you know, who I get to, in a way, I guess, have a little control in V. You know, because it's normal, but what's not normal is what I see, what's happening now, even more amplified, are people who are just, because of the coronavirus, because of what's going on. Yes, it's long, it's terrible, it really is. I mean, it's no fun, but it is what it is. You know, we're guaranteed change. That's the only thing we're guaranteed, and it's going to change. In this case, it's just taking a longer time, and because it is. And it's not only us, it's the entire world, you know. So that is such a massive thing to happen. So you have to wonder, what are all the lessons we're supposed to learn from this? There has to be. And we can no longer close our eyes and say, oh no, it's too hard. You're doing it, you're part of it. So that's why I don't understand, some people are just really fearful to go really dig deep, you know. I mean, you must experience that, right, Francis, with people, you know, that you
Of course.
encounter, right? And
Yeah.
how hard is that for you to I guess to deal with, or to like be around, you know, because
Well, I think, one thing that I've heard from you, that's my interpretation. One of the things that resonates, and that's to answer your question as well. I think, you pay really close attention to the people that you have around you, the VIPs, like you said, and the VIP of the food, the VIP of the reading, like what I call the environment. And we can start to talk about this in your own business because, I think that you decided when you had cancer to really pay a close attention to what you're going to consume,
yeah.
your food, the people that are around you, because that's all vibration, that's all energy that are helping you to heal, right? So to me, when I look at some of the people, I pay really close attention to the environment so that it doesn't, I don't watch TV. That's my choice. It's a choice because my energy, my body is more important than anything.
Right.
My friends as well. And that's why I'm super excited to be able to help those people to realize that the environment that they put themselves in can be changed. It could be painful sometimes. We have toxic relationships, but it's still a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it is what it is. It is, you accept it, right? Like there's some people that will change, some won't. And that's okay. I choose to choose my environment. So maybe you can talk about how food is so important to you and your healing, because I know you have a beautiful project that you're working on that I'd love to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, food is important because, first of all, I'm a chef, right? I'm a cordon bleu chef. So food has always been part of my culture. I think it's cultural. I grew up with food, so did everyone. But I mean, like, you know, you're one of your best friends is Filipino. So, you know, Filipino families, the first thing they ask you when they see you is, have you eaten? And if they
Yeah.
see me, I'm too thin. Really? So, yeah. And I've enjoyed food, and because I've traveled so much and I love just experimenting and tasting all the different, you know, food from different cultures. To me, that is just, again, another reason why I love life, is just being exposed to so many different cultures and their food and the way they live. So for me, when I got sick, I was very sad, in fact, to like not eat my favorite foods, right? I mean, I had to, you know, I had to really take on a very strict diet, no sugar, no carbs, just no animal protein whatsoever. For 2.5 years, I basically ate only vegetables, no carbs, no complex carbs, yes, you know, like sweet potatoes and whatnot, but then nothing, no bread, nothing, no sugar. My chocolate souffle, no. I mean, and I say chocolate souffle because, God, to me, that's my favorite, chocolate souffle. And then even someone says, God, V, do you not miss chocolate souffle? And I put that in my book, chocolate souffle or my life. Very easy to
Yeah.
decide. Okay. So food, yes, I had to be very strict with my diet. It was something that I thought, wow, okay, I know how all these food taste, and I missed it. Because when you're sick, you have to really, your diet has to be very simple, because your body has to heal. The energy that is required to digest is very traumatizing, and it's really high energy that is required from your body. So I wanted to make sure that my body's energy was reserved for healing my body, not digesting. And I think that's the same premise when you go to sleep. That's why I eat very light dinners and early, so that when I go to sleep, my body is, that's when you heal, because that's when you restore, you know, and rejuvenate. Because, you know, if you've eaten some processed food that's very hard to digest, then your body is being consumed during the time you're sleeping in just digesting those food. And by the way, they won't be, you won't digest them because they're processed food. Instead of, let's say you have, you know, pain in your hip, you have a pain in your neck, Now, if your body isn't consumed by digestion, then your body's saying, "Oh, no problem there. Let me go somewhere else where you need some healing." That's how it works. And so I understood that very early on in my studies, and that's where I'm a good. I love to study. I'm very studious, and that's one of the things I've learned is like, okay, the ease. Okay, my body and I are a team here. Let me give it what it needs to like fight this disease internally, but let me also make it easy for it. And so that's why food is super important. And in fact, that's why now, almost 4 years later, it made me, I thought, there's no such thing as me not being able to eat my favorites. I just need to deconstruct the recipe and recreate it with my new ingredients. And that's what I've done. I've made every recipe I know in my head or, that I cook. I eat my favorite food. It's just that now I've replaced some of the ingredients into better ingredients. And that actually created more, it inspires me to be creative in my cooking. And I love that. It's like learning how to cook all over again, but having the foundation. And because I have the references of how things should taste, it's easy. And, with my other company, Alive, Well, and Thrive, I think, again, when we talk about, there are so many things that if you allow all these experiences that you're gifted with and said yes to all of them, it prepares you for the big things in your life. Well, guess what? Now I understand why I became a cordon bleu chef. It didn't have to be a cordon bleu chef, but us Leos, we have to be the best. We have to go to the it can't just be cordon bleu in San Francisco. It's got to be à Paris, right?
À Paris, bien sûr.
Yes.
Oui, oui, oui.
Oui, oui, oui. So now I understood why I needed to be a chef, because one of the things that I did while I was healing is not only, be mindful of what I ate, and change it completely, but try something. And there's an open mindset, right? Of something that I was told that would work, which is cannabis and CBD. Mind you, lectured my kids, no drugs, your brain, save your brain. Your brain is a big, thing. And it's very important. Don't do drugs. And there's their mother doing 3 grams of cannabis a day. I can outdo anybody. 3 grams is a lot, Francis. I know you don't do it. So you, you didn't react. 3 grams is a lot.
yeah. She's like, you should be reacting right now. Yeah, sure. 3, 5 is, I don't know.
It's a lot. And I was stoned out of my mind. I could not even lift my head. That's how stoned I was. My girlfriends were coming to my home. One was holding my head up, and then one was feeding me, making sure I don't choke because I was so stoned to eat on my own. It was horrible. And then, grace of someone, God, the universe, I woke up and I'm like, I'm going to do suppositories. Unless you've been in Europe.
The grace.
And that's what Alive, Well, Thrive is. From my kitchen, now from a lab, we formulated all the things I did to give myself a chance to be alive today. And that's why all the products that we have, 18 products that we're launching probably on my birthday. We've decided now on my birthday, August 15th, we're launching my 18 babies, where it is, where each, there's 3 categories. And the reason why we call it Alive, Well, Thrive is because those were my stages of healing. First, I had to choose and decide to be alive. You're not going to create a treatment protocol for someone who does not want to live, who has a miserable life. So you have to choose to be alive. And if you've been dead, metaphorically, you have to now think about what's going to make you feel alive again.
I love that. Yes.
Right? So that's what the alive is. And then once you decide and you choose to want to be alive, and if you're really sincere about it, you're going to do everything and anything to be well again. And that's where massive action is required from you. That means being an open-minded, to cannabis, to eliminating sugar, not eating carbs. Don't want to hear you say, really, I have to skip carb? You're sick. You can't eat like most people.
Yeah.
Once you're well, then you hope one day that you will thrive again.
Yeah.
And that's where I am. I'm thriving. So that's why Alive Well Thrive. So it's almost like when I have clients that are in Alive, then they move on to Well. It gives you, it motivates you. It gives you something to work towards. You know, it's like you graduate from choosing to be alive to now I'm on the Well program, and then I'm on the Thrive program. So I think it's so meaningful. Those three words are the three words that Robin told me that I keep repeating when I was talking to her in the beginning of our relationship, um, and business relationship.
And Robin is your marketing manager, right?
She's my strategist. She's my
Strategist.
everything. She's my
Perfect.
everything. She really is. You were here when I proposed to her.
Oh, yes.
Today's her
And she,
birthday too, and then so pressure's on. Adam proposed to her too.
oh,
She
that's
got married.
wow.
So now you see, that's what we have to do. If you ever want someone, a girlfriend for you, you have to do something with me so that she feels pressured.
That's a recipe. I'm turning red. I don't know why. Okay. Maybe next year I'll be married.
There you go,
I'll
friend.
propose.
So we can work together on on something like if you want to, because
Yeah,
as
if you want, I want to be. That's the first step. Alive. Do you really want it,
well,
Francis?
exactly.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Okay. Then
I
I'll
can
be
help
well
you.
on my way to thrive.
So exactly. So that to me is like is so special. And my partner is just amazing. Ray is just oh
So for the people to know, so explain a little bit, just Ray, what he's up to, because I remember you told me the story.
Ray
You
is
know,
somebody that you should actually also talk to. Talk about resilience. He and his daughter, who is now 16. Ray is my partner, co-founder of Alive Well Thrive. And luckily, again, luckily, I don't want to say lucky, fortunately, God, the universe, gave us an opportunity to meet each other. And we did. We were introduced with each other. And the first 5 minutes, we both knew we had to partner. It was one of those, like you, I don't know what it is. I think it's like the older you get, or the more you are enlightened or aware, whatever, conscious of what's important in life, it doesn't take you that long,
I
right?
was about, yeah, I'm glad you say that
I mean, look
because
at
that's,
us.
yeah, that was just lunch. Okay, good. Same language. I got chills, and even, my best friend, as you know, Filipino, president and COO, we met at an event. We were introduced. You guys should talk. And there's so many levels that were already on board. So it just made it easy, right? And so,
Yeah.
and then you met Ray, and then now
Yeah.
you started to this company, and Ray, a story of resilience with his daughter, right? Like, I mean,
Well,
talk about
his daughter got vaccinated. People pay attention. When you get vaccinated, in this case, she got seizures. As a side effect of the vaccination, she got epilepsy. And she was having 126 seizures a day. Imagine that. And this is
crazy.
uncontrollable. And this is where she requires someone 20, I mean, like with her all the time, because if she has a seizure, somebody has to be there because she can hurt herself. So this man has dropped his career and turned into cannabis during the time it wasn't legal yet here in California, and give it to his daughter because he knew that that was helping her seizures from 126 to once a day. Yeah, massively. Now she was a baby. Now she's 16 years old. So he's committed to this. So he was a professor, he left that. And now he has, a CBD and cannabis company that is, he's helped so many kids, pediatric kids who have, seizures, epilepsy. And he's actually has this book, and it's a beautiful book of all the children that he's helped. And I one day want to produce this type of book where it has all the people we've helped and all our stories. That is, and then that's I would like that. I refuse to write my second book because I want that to be my second book. So that's why I said the other day to you that will be my third book, because my
I love
second
it.
I'm developing as I hear more people's story. I really am so determined to change the conversation of cancer from being given a death sentence to, I think it's so unfair that when you go to a doctor's office and you're given a prognosis and a diagnosis, that I think if you're going to give a prognosis, you should also give the stats of people surviving. So give me the stat of people passing away, but also give me the stat of people being alive still. We don't hear enough about me. We don't hear enough about Jackie, other people. And trust me, cancer is an everyday disease. It's a modern disease that is now so prevalent due to our lifestyle. And
And would you say that your past lifestyle and even the mindset you had kind of, because I think, you said you took responsibility for what it was and then you changed it. You said, I have the creation power. I created this and now I'm creating something else.
yes.
How was your life before? Was that, the mindset you had, the lifestyle you had that in a way created this?
Right. Well, yeah. So before cancer, I have to admit that I wasn't as aware. I was more of a left brain. I always, I'm very methodic and very disciplined. So it's very much of a left brain. But now I choose more to be on the right brain and balance it out with my left. So yes, I was super unhappy. It was something where, again, culturally and also in part of our upbringing is always something that we hold on to, right? Because we've been conditioned and all of that. So, as you know, from your best friend's culture, Filipino, and even just being a woman, you stay in a marriage. And even, I'm pretty educated. I went to UC Berkeley, yet I still had this where I felt like I decided to have 3 children. I made a commitment. Therefore, I should stay in this marriage until my last child has started college. And then I can start thinking about what makes me happy, because I wasn't happy. I felt like I was living, I love my children, but I wasn't happy with the man I married. I mean, I think we were good for a few years, but I think we grew apart. But I stayed fooling myself, drowning myself in things like tennis. In my home there was a party every weekend. I was escaping. I was like doing all these things to not face how unhappy I was. And that's why I don't ever want to live that life again, because it's the opposite of being authentic, right? And I fooled myself and replaced a lot of, I thought I can just keep stacking. We stack, you know, and thinking that it's going to go away, but it didn't go away. And here's the thing, I always found myself, I always believe in myself being strong. So that's a great thing to have that confidence. But it's also, there's a disadvantage, because then just because you can, it doesn't mean you should. And
That's
I've
great.
learned,
Can you repeat that? I think it's something that we need to hear again.
yeah, I said, just because you can, it does not mean you should. I did not have boundaries. My children were my oxygen, and I love them to death. But guess what? Nobody's going to be my oxygen, not even my children. I linked my, happiness to other things and to other people. And now I link my happiness to nothing. I'm alive, and I'm going to be happy regardless whether it's pouring outside, whether it's sunshine. It's just because happiness really comes from within. You wake up in the morning and you look at yourself and you're like, you did good yesterday, and you're going to do even better today. And to know that that's what I'm going to be, or how I'm going to be, is a gift. I mean, this morning I received a text already, 3 texts saying, thank you so much. You're an angel sent to me. I mean, that's not about ego. That's about saying to yourself, you're on the right path.
Yeah. And I love that you say within happiness is an inner game, right? And we heard that so many times, I'm sure, since we're young. And I believe that, maybe as a clue, I don't know if you agree with that, I would say, and I remember one of my friend who wrote the book, The Power of the Heart, he said, what I wish to people is a crisis. That's the best gift that I would give them. And I believe that in order to know how strong you are and understand that happiness is within, so then the first step would be embracing the challenge.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to discover your own power. Because if you're able to embrace any small little things that happens today, here's a clue, you know, like, yeah, okay, happiness is within. Yeah. So start with one little challenge today. And if you can transcend that one and realize that you had the choice of, you know, choosing how you're going to react to it, respond to it, then you've already started to understand, and you already started to understand your whole power that is within. And I love that you're saying, you know, this is within, it's not external. And fortunately, I think, you know, we had crises to make us remember who we are. And sometimes it could be a short journey or a long one, or sometimes dramatic. And then, you know, yours was quite dramatic.
Yeah.
And look at what the impact you have right now. I mean, this was a gift and a good reason, right? Like now you have Alive, Well, and Thrive. And I'm excited about the products you're going to go, and that's going to be available in the market. Ray has changed people's lives by his commitment to really empower his daughter to thrive, you know, with the how do you say it? Epilepsy? That's my French.
Epilepsy. Yeah.
Epilepsy. Yeah.
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 No, I think that's exactly it, Francis. I think that you're so right to say that. I mean, like, you know, look at what's happening in the world, and that's like, again, it makes me really sad, because I think that the coronavirus has exposed how you are. Okay. And I think, you know, and it probably exposed, I hope that you are kind to yourself, that, you know, exposure of your own personality, of who you are, that you don't just focus on the negativity, that the coronavirus has also exposed some great things about you, right? But I think people get stuck when they actually think, oh shoot, that's who I am. No, 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 no. Then they decide not to do anything about it because they can't, they can't, they don't like it. They realize who they are, and they are not liking who they are. But what I think we as people who coach need to help people see that during that moment is actually very intriguing, where you can say to yourself, okay, but I have the power to change who I am, or to make a list of all the things that I don't like about myself or that I need to improve, and just do it. You know, create a plan for each one on a daily basis, how you can, you know, be a little less. And I don't like the word fearless, because there's no such a thing. If someone tells you I'm fearless, they're lying to you. There is such a thing as fear. Do you just face it? Yes. That doesn't mean that you're fearless. It just means that you know, you're aware and conscious of your fear. Because they say, to me, fear, the opposite of that is excitement. You know when you're excited. Okay, so you also know when you're fearful, right? So don't judge yourself, because fear is part of life. You just have to figure out what is driving behind that fear. You know, why are you fearful? And then hopefully by answering that question, it will help you push through that fear, so that next time another thing that's fearful comes along, you can then say, I've been here before, and I've pushed through it. And then next one, because honestly, it's a repeat. We're all on repeat. It's just a matter of you choose what you're repeating.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, it's been such an honor. And I feel that I want to have part 2, part 3, because now the next time it's going to be your products are after your birthday, they're going to be in the market. So to end this thing, like if you had let's pretend, you know, this is a judgment day. I will have it. You will have it. So what would be the message you'd like to share to this world that it would be from you? You know, if you can share that wisdom to people. And if you had a quote that would be yours, what would that be?
I think it's, if there is one thing in life that you can master, if there's one subject in life that one must master, is the subject of you. Everyone should have a PhD on who Francis Pichet is, who Veronica Villanueva is. If we each got a PhD on who we are, we wouldn't have as many problems that we're experiencing right now.
Beautiful. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. This has been an incredible interview, and I love you. You know, we're aligned.
Woo. I love you.
So generous, Francis. You've been so generous in, you know, letting people know about the book and, you know, and people who need it the most. So, you know, I really believe that people who are healed have the responsibility of healing other people. And so anybody who is part of my path, I hope that you understand. And whenever I actually engage people in my company, I always say I take this very seriously, because I said, not only is there a need for you to be aligned with what what we're trying to do for the world here, but it's really important that the energy is positive, and that you know your role in this, because it's no joke. There are people out there sick. And, you know, I have to be so careful. It's my responsibility to be as protective of my story, of my, you know, my passion, and make sure that everything is heart-centered, you know. And it's sad because not everybody is feeling or driven by that, right? So no, and so I appreciate you when I, you know, work with people who are really heart-centered and who really want to make a big difference out there, and who do want, let's face it, we are in the business of reminding people how powerful they can be.
Boom.
Hello.
Mic drop on that. This is it. This is it. I believe that's why I say reawakening your inner power. And you said it, conquer yourself. Once you do that, once you have self-love, you forgive yourself, you accept the challenge, you embrace it, you make a decision, you choose. And now you have a different, you know, your mission's helping others. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, how can we not do well? You know, how can we not? Because I think it's so needed right now, unfortunately, but it is true. It's so needed for whatever. I think it's because we've been living this life where we consider ourselves invincible, where anything goes. You know, I have 9 lives kind of thing. And I'm here to remind you, as even though I joke about it, you don't have 9 lives. This is the life you have right now. Make it count. Make it count.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank
You.
you. I love you. You're awesome.
Love you too,
we're going to talk about you more and more and more. I'm so excited. Thanks for being part of this interview, my dear friend. And you're a light to this world. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.